Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the March 7th, 2023 council meeting to order. Oh, God. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Chair, would you do the roll call?
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Guy?
Here.
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here.
Mr. Patero is absent this evening.
Tonight, just so everybody knows, tonight we have with us as part of their merit badge, we have troop number 91 here, and they're going to sit in on our meeting, and I'm going to ask them to lead us in the flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May you please remain standing and bow our heads. Dear God, bless our Hamilton community. May we continue to assist our seniors, encourage our youth, and build all neighborhoods with the love that you taught us. May we also pray for those confronted with despair and loss. May you be the source of hope in their most difficult times. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion from council that we could go in recess so that we can reconvene as the Board of Health.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk?
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Guy?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
It is.
Okay. Yes, so I'll ask Director Fitzgerald if she'd like to give us an opening statement.
Good evening, all. It is with great pride and pleasure we come before you this evening to present our report to the Hamilton Township Board of Health. The Hamilton Township Division of Health is dedicated to maintaining the health and well-being of all of our residents and visitors by means of promotion, prevention, and health education. During our past meetings, I gave an entire overview of the intricate responsibilities of each section within the Department of Health. Again, for anyone new here this evening, I will briefly summarize each section's responsibilities. Our Division of Health encompasses 4 sections that include nursing and public health services, consumer and environmental services, vital statistics and licensing, and animal control services. This evening, you will receive a report on each section from our health officer. To keep up to date on the accomplishments of the Division of Health, we invite members of the board as well as our residents to take a moment to visit our township website and read the division's annual 2022 report. In addition, our animal shelter and adoption center posts monthly updates and statistics on our shelter page. This evening, we will provide you with an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. Our health department staff, our health officer, our public health nurses, and support staff have been working diligently each day to provide our residents with the guidance needed to navigate this path. Our nursing staff still continues to coordinate clinics and administers doses of COVID-19 vaccine as well as influenza vaccine. Our Department of Health staff continues to provide the state-mandated services, other public health-related services such as immunizing our children against childhood diseases, administering adult immunizations, and following up on all state reportable communicable diseases. Our environmental health inspectors perform health inspections of all of our retail food establishments, our schools, and other facilities. Our vital statistics section issues thousands of licenses, certificates each year related to birth, marriage, death, and burial permits. Another important task of our health department is to provide management oversight of our animal shelter. The shelter management team consists of our health officer, our shelter manager, Our assistant township attorney and myself have accomplished so many goals in improving policies and procedures at the shelter. We have created new and continue to revise shelter policies, operating procedures, creating and or improving necessary records and documents for better record keeping, addressing and remediating any previously noted deficiencies while making improvements, but most importantly, by providing the best quality of care to our shelter animals. In addition to the management team, our shelter staff of ACOs, animal attendants, and clerical support have all been instrumental in moving our shelter in a positive forward direction. I would be remiss if I did not give acknowledgement to all of the volunteers and advocates that share their concerns and offer their help with solutions, networking, and contributions to our shelter and their staff. Together, we have accomplished many goals. I am proud to say to you tonight that without a doubt, our health department is truly one of the best. We have proven repeatedly, especially during the last 3 years, our commitment in providing the 10 essential public health services, including protecting and promoting the health of all of our residents in Hamilton Township. Our health department staff are true leaders in their areas of expertise, and we can be confident that they will continue to protect and promote the health of all of our people in our community. At this time, I'd like to present Chris Helwig, our health officer, for his report.
Thank you, Director. How you feeling, Chris?
Much better this week than last week. So
Good.
fingers crossed, no surgery. So good evening, Board of Health members and residents. First, on behalf of the Division of Health, I would like to wish former Municipal Clerk Eileen Ward a happy retirement and congratulate our new Municipal Clerk, Allison, on her new role, and we look forward to working with you. Under the direction of Director Fitzgerald, the Division of Health continues to promote healthful behaviors to protect the well-being of all those who live, work, and play in Hamilton, in accordance with the public health practice standards of performance for local boards of health. This also includes our animal shelter, where our #1 priority remains the care and safety of the animals at the shelter. To ensure continued compliance with the requirements outlined in the state's local boards of health practice standards, I will use tonight's meeting to review the roles and responsibilities of the Board of Health, its members, and the health officer. The health officer is tasked with ensuring that the Board of Health members are properly oriented upon appointment and then periodically thereafter. Core functions of public health, as defined by the National Institutes of Health in 1998, are assessment, assurance, and policy development. Within each of those core categories are the 10 essential services of public health. Assessment. This includes assessing and monitoring population health status, factors that influence health and community needs and assets. Investigating, diagnosing, and addressing health problems and hazards that affect the community. Communicating effectively to inform and educate about health and factors that influence improvement. Assurance. Enable equitable access. Build and support a diverse and skilled public health workforce. Improve and innovate through evaluation, research, and quality improvement. Build and maintain a strong organizational structure for public health. Policy development. Strengthen, support, mobilize communities and partnerships. Create, champion, and implement policies, plans, and laws. And utilize legal and regulatory actions. 10 essential public health services provide the framework for the division to protect and promote the health of each one of Hamilton's residents. It is important that the Board of Health members and residents understand the factors that affect one's health, and these are all together considered the social determinants of health. And they are defined as economic and social conditions, aka where you are born, live, work, and play. And those all influence the individual and group differences that affect, each of our health statuses. The 5 determinants of health are economic stability, education, social and community context, health and healthcare, and neighborhood and the built environment. Education is a big predictor in better health, as it improves access to healthy foods, healthcare, and safe neighborhoods. By understanding the social determinants of health, we can work to improve individual and population health, as well as advance health equity. In New Jersey, each municipality has a local board of health. Whether they know they have one or not, they do have a local board of health. Boards of health must work in collaboration with their respective health officer to ensure that services are delivered to meet the needs of the community. The core functions of a board of health are similar to the functions of public health in general, but are further outlined as administration, program planning, evaluation of organizational effectiveness, financial stewardship, and represents the interests of citizens. As a Board of Health member, you should be informed, promote services, be community conscious, attend meetings, and know your obligations. Here in New Jersey, there are 3 types of boards of health: an autonomous board of health, an advisory board of health, and a governing body board of health. Here at Hamilton, based on the types of governance that our township is formed under, which is the Faulkner Act Mayor Council system, the township governing body serves as a board of health. Under the state's practice standards, the health officer is the chief executive of public health services. The relationship between the board and the health officer should be collaborative and collegial, something that I'm sure that we all can agree that has been the case of our time together and that I'm committed to maintaining. While day-to-day operations of the division are the responsibility of the health officer and director, the board serves as the eyes and ears of the community and has the overall responsibility to ensure that public health services are delivered. As the health officer, the board can expect me to advise the board on issues under discussion, develop and recommend policies for consideration, effectively implement policies, keep the board informed fully and accurately of activities of the division, make professional recommendations based on problems and issues being considered by the board, develop the division's budget in consultation with the board, and keep the board advised of budgetary problems, recruit and retain the most competent personnel and supervise accordingly, devote time to professional development, including requirements for certifications and licensure for not only me, but also for the division staff, attend all Board of Health meetings, and operate the division in compliance with New Jersey Public Health Practice Standards. In addition to holding the health officer accountable, the expectations of the board include delegating the responsibility for all administrative functions to the division, that ensure that there is a mechanism that provides for the leadership to develop partnerships with community organizations and agencies, which have a demonstrable effect on the health and status of the population. Ensuring that there is a mechanism to guide the development of a community health improvement plan. Ensure the development of local policies and programs that are consistent with the community health improvement plan. Ensure that public health staff, in addition to meeting the requirements for licensure certification, are also actively training and pursuing the skills necessary to provide each of the 10 essential public health services. Ensure the enforcement of the provisions of the state sanitary code. Consult with the health officer during the development of any new public health ordinances or amendments to any existing ordinances. Conduct a sanitary and safety program at public bathing facilities. Conduct a youth camp inspection and safety program, maintain surveillance of retail food establishments, food and beverage vending machines, conduct a public health nuisance program, conduct a program for the surveillance, investigation, and control of reportable diseases, provide and promote immunizations for the protection against childhood vaccine preventable diseases, conduct a program for the control of rabies and other zoonoses, control sexually transmitted diseases and HIV, provide health supervision for infants and preschool children, and provide for the prevention and control of elevated blood levels in young children. As the expectations just outlined, or the expectations I just outlined, align with the New Jersey's minimum standards of performance for local boards of health. And these standards have 5 core areas: the administration, environmental health, communicable diseases, maternal and child health, and chronic illness. Each of those 5 core categories are represented in the work that the division does, day in and day out. Therefore, as required, I'm also presenting the board with the division's 2002 annual report. I'm happy to report to the board that the division continues to meet its annual public health obligations. So I'm not going to go through our entire annual report.
No?
There's 36 pages of it, so don't worry. But I'm going to highlight some, overarching things, and if the board has any specific questions regarding the report, I'd be happy to answer them. The division's environmental health section is made up of 4 inspectors and a clerk, who are responsible for investigations into public health nuisances, foodborne illness complaints, routine complaint investigations of licensed camps, pools, food establishments, animal facilities, massage establishments, households of a child with an elevated blood level, and septics. The division also continues to meet monthly with Trenton Waterworks, NJDEP, and NJD Waste to monitor the progress being made to improve the water quality for Trenton Waterworks Hamilton customers, specifically in regards to Legionnaires' disease. While the cases of Legionnaires' disease have dropped by more than half since the peak in 2009, vigilance is still needed to ensure that procedures put in place on and by Trenton Waterworks continue to have the desired effect of reducing the disease burden on Hamilton residents. Following the year close, I tasked the inspectors to review their inspection data to identify where facilities are struggling the most when it comes to compliance with our inspections. For retail food establishments that have received at least one, all have received at least one annual inspection. The top 5 violations were, and I'll just read them off, material construction, repair, design, capacity, location, installation, and maintenance issues, aka that is how their whole facility is put together. Are there cracks in the walls? Are they using the right equipment? Things like that. Food and non-food contact surfaces properly constructed and cleanable. Food protected from potential contamination during preparation, storage, and display. So this is a great example of, this is why you don't store raw meat over vegetables, which is a common violation that we see all the time. Premises maintained free of litter, unnecessary articles, cleaning, maintenance equipment properly stored, and garbage and refuse properly maintained. And food contact surfaces properly cleaned and sanitized. In the annual report, there's actually a list of the top 20 and the percentages of the violations that we've seen throughout the year. Each establishment that receives a conditional satisfactory score is allowed time to correct the violations, and then they're also re-inspected. And they will continue to be re-inspected until they have a satisfactory score. For public recreational bathing facilities, the same analysis was done. All facilities in the township must receive a routine 1 inspection, and only 38% or almost 39% of our establishment passed this inspection on the first go-around. During year-round establishments also have to have a year 2 inspection, and only 53% of those establishments passed it during that inspection. In 2002, we licensed 32 facilities, all of which required a total of 129 inspections to get them all to pass. This is something that we will be working on, because our pool compliance is rough. And while we're working with all our pool facilities, there are a number of issues that we've identified with the operation of our public pools, mostly the condo development pools who have an outsourced maintenance company coming in and monitoring. We're seeing lax adherence to the code with, and that's something that we're going to try to work to identify, kind of best solutions to educate moving forward. So our inspectors are constantly out there.
Can I ask you a quick
Yes.
How many pools are we talking about?
32 total. So
And this could be at like above 55 community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's. I mean, our gyms, that have the year-round pools. While we've had some issues, the vast majority of our compliance issues are seasonal pools. All right. So public health nursing. The division's public health nursing section is made up of 5 nurses, 1 health educator, 2 health aides, and a clerk. The team is responsible for the delivery of the division's clinical services, disease investigation, community outreach, as well as immunization programs. In 2002, the division's clinical services continued to see a steady increase across the board, except for our COVID-19 vaccination, which did see a decline year over year, but that makes sense as most people received the initial round of vaccinations, but we are struggling just as the rest of the state and country getting people to take any additional vaccine doses or booster doses. That said, if anybody needs it, we have plenty of vaccine that we are willing to give to anybody 6 months and older who is qualified for the vaccine.
Chris, do you have any clinics, any booster events scheduled?
Yes, so we have a standing clinic on Fridays at the health department. We offer one clinic monthly at the senior center, and then we do rotate, the Wilson, Bravo centers, other high-risk populations. We also do kind of ad hoc clinics as well.
Great.
Same thing with the schools if requested. But our clinic schedule is updated monthly, and it's on our health department website.
And folks can show up at the health building at any time?
Yep.
Great.
They can call me. So as far as looking at our numbers, our STD clients, we've seen an increase, a 40% increase year over year. We service 108 individuals in our STD clinic. In our child health clinic, we had just about a 20% increase year over year, and we service 509 children. We are seeing more children, and specifically more children who need more vaccines. It's not just that they're missing one dose, they're missing many doses. And we're also seeing a lot of new arrivals to the area and to the country who don't have any documentation and need to restart their entire vaccination series and play catch up in order to stay in school and be in compliance with the state's vaccination requirements. Our flu vaccination program was just about flat. We had a 0.5% increase year over year and just under 2,000 doses of flu vaccine that we gave out last year. COVID-19, like I said, the number of vaccines was cut in half, but we still delivered just over or almost 3,200 doses of COVID-19 vaccine last year. Childhood immunization vaccines, we did just over 1,700, which is a 36% increase. So that's kind of, even though we only saw a 20% increase in the number of children, overall we saw an almost 40% increase in the number of childhood vaccinations given year over year. We also started giving out the Jynneos or monkeypox vaccine in our STD clinic, and we gave out 71 doses last year. In our vital records program, we currently have one registrar and one alternate registrar, and they are the stewards of the township's vital records, all of which includes the birth, marriage, all records include the births, marriage, deaths that occur within the township. As far as certified copies go, we had a 2% increase with just over 4,300 certified copies issued last year. And marriage license, we have 565 marriage licenses issued, which is just about a 1% actual reduction year over year. For our animal shelter, as a reminder to our board and residents, we take our roles as manager of the shelter very seriously. In 2022, the shelter once again exceeded the generally accepted live release rate to be considered a no-kill shelter of 90%. Last year, that rate for Hamilton was 93.5%. And this is even though that we housed more animals last year, and many of those animals needed extensive medical interventions as well. We had a total animal intake of 602 animals last year, which is a 15% increase year over year. The shelter continues to do a great job of returning strays to their owners, but we did sadly see a 14% decrease in the number of return to owners year over year. Hamilton had a return rate of 68% for dogs compared to the state average of 27%. And for cats, even though it was dramatically lower at 9%, that is still double the state's average. Another bright spot in the shelter that does not get highlighted enough is our volunteer program. In 2022, our volunteers at the shelter donated just under 2,000 hours worth of service to the township and to the shelter and the shelter animals. This in-kind donation can be valued at $59,000 of taxpayer savings due to all the assistance that our great volunteers help us with. And our volunteers help us with walking, animal care, socialization, you know, even just general cleaning or folding laundry, things like that, that they can help at least alleviate, you know, some of the duties that the shelter staff would then have to do if they weren't there, and it's greatly appreciated. Our shelter management team continues to work on constant quality improvement for the services rendered at the shelter. Our number one priority is and shall remain that each animal will be fed, cleaned, watered, and medicated every day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With that said, I'm available to answer any questions the board might have.
Yeah, Chris, I may have a couple. I just want to start out with the Legionnaires. Just reading one of the documents here, it says that in 2022, the division worked with the New Jersey Department of Health to conduct a home water sampling study that identified more than half the homes had detectable levels of Legionella. Now, is there acceptable levels? That's part of what I'm looking for.
So, in a home water system, there really should not be an acceptable level. But that said, that it is a naturally occurring bacteria. So chances are, eventually, you will find it if you sample enough. But we know that there is a higher disease burden in the township, and that especially those residents who are over 50, smoke, who have chronic illness, they really need to be the most concerned. Most healthy people who are exposed to the bacteria will not get sick. But those who have other underlying health conditions, it is a concern, and it's something that those residents who are serviced by Trenton Water Works should really have that conversation with their primary medical provider to let them know that there is an increased risk, especially as we move later into the warmer months and as the water and the weather warms up. That's when the risk increases. But there really is, it's hard because it's not a regulated organism in the water, so it's hard because it's not like yes, it shouldn't be there, but it's also not necessarily required to not be there, if that makes sense.
Is that hence why a lot of times they'll recommend to the public as far as running your water for a certain length of time, you know, a minute, whatever it is, you know, just to make sure you're kind of like flushing the system before you say shower?
Yes,
or
absolutely. And we have a list of all those best practices on the township's website.
Right.
Just to review, you know, we do, you know, especially if you've been away or you have a guest room that you don't use very often, it's good practice to routinely, you know, flush the lines, run it for, you know, 3 to 5 minutes on, you know, just full blast, let it go, close the door. You know, if you're able to vent it with a window, that's even better, just to keep the water moving in the system, because that's really what prevents any growth, whether that is Legionella or any other biofilm from forming in the pipes, and to get constant fresh water into the home system, and making sure that the hot water tank is at the manufacturer's recommended temperature as well.
And you mentioned that we at least inspect at least once a year for our businesses that are operating as restaurants or food that's being prepared. When you come across a violation at a particular restaurant facility, is it a written warning, or is it they shut down, or is it you need to make the necessary changes? Next violation, or when we come back to inspect, if they're not, we shut you down. How's that work?
Yeah, so we use what's called a risk-based inspection system. So there is 52 plus measures that the inspectors go in and look at. Some of them are considered critical violations that then if they have any of those violations, they would get a conditional. Some of it can be easily corrected on the spot, and then, you know, it's just marked on the inspection sheet, it's corrected, and then they can move on to just getting a satisfactory inspection score. Let's say if it's something that they can't correct, or they need time to, then they would receive a conditional They're given, 2 weeks or so to fix the violation. The inspectors go back out, and then they will hopefully receive a satisfactory. If the if when the inspectors aren't there and there is critical, like, health and safety violations that necessary closure, what we do is we recommend to the owner of the establishment to voluntarily close, so we do not have to force them to close or get a court order to do that, and most will comply and voluntarily close until they can abate the problem. This would be, for example, let's say they don't have hot water. You can't operate, and this happens more often than a number of times a year, where we'll go in and all of a sudden there's no hot water. Whether it's just the moment that we're there or it's been there and now they're being caught with it. So then they would have to close until they can get a plumber in, fix the hot water problem. And usually that's something that only takes a couple hours. So they voluntarily close for those 2 hours. They call us, the inspector goes back out. Yes, you have hot water, you can reopen.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from council?
I just had a quick question. On the retail food establishments, I noticed that such a slight 10 businesses that declined from the issuances of.
The license.
Yeah. And is that because closings? I think
Yeah,
a few businesses.
and that's where there's always a discrepancy between the number of inspections and licenses as well. But yeah, we've seen closures, change of ownership. We've also had a number of places where, let's say, they'll get a license and then they just want to open. So it's a combination of both.
Okay.
Mix of closures. Everybody that that we know of that needed a license obtained a license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chris, so, regarding, so you were talking about the standard of care for the animals in the animal shelter: watered, sheltered, fed.
Yes.
That's the
That's
the standard.
That's like where our priority is. I mean, the animals are animal care, so they do need to be fed, watered, cleaned, medicated if they have medication that they need. That's always going to be our #1 priority. It takes about 15 minutes per animal just for general cleaning and care, and that adds up, especially when we have 40 dogs, 60 cats.
Mhm.
It does add up. I can tell you right now, there is a total of, let's say, we actually have a total of 58 animals at the shelter as of the end of February. So I don't have one right now, but that's what Diane gave me.
Behaviorally, I'm sure you see the benefits of walking the dogs.
And that is part of the priority, and it's taking a step up approach. So we have
As resources allow.
Our #1 priority is always going to be just meeting the basic care needs. Yes, the behavioral part and of walking, providing toys, and other enrichment activities will always be then the next step. And the staff does try to get as many dogs out as possible on a rotating basis. Obviously we can't get all 40 or 36 dogs out every single day, but it's on a rotating basis, and this is also where volunteers can come in and help us out with walking dogs as well.
So the fact that you've nearly doubled the number of volunteers is probably going a long way toward helping to get a larger percentage of the dogs walked on a more regular basis. So
I mean, it helps. I will say, it just depends on the capacity of the volunteers that we have, because we do match the types of dogs that we have with the volunteers and their capabilities. There's
Sure.
a grading system just to make sure that the volunteers that we have are walking dogs that they can handle for both safety reasons, for both for the animal and for the volunteer. We don't always have nice, easy, small, fluffy animals that anybody can take out. We have a lot of very strong, maybe independently minded animals that do need some more, more training or more experienced people to walk them. And thankfully we have a number of volunteers who fit that category, as well as a number of, and our staff that can handle those animals as well.
So I noticed the number of animal bite investigations are up. A part of that might be due to post-COVID, people are out and about more, interacting with animals more. Do you find a majority of the bite investigations are dog bites?
Yeah, I mean, we do get cat bite.
People call on
Not-
cat bites?
It's not as much, but we get a little bit of both. Some of it is, you know, owner animal interaction. Some of it is unknown. Some of it is, visitors to a house, child playing with, the friend's dog, and they get bit that way. I mean, it's a little bit of a mix. It's all in the story.
So, just to go from micro to macro, I know you've been working with the entire health department to meet certification standards for the department, just kind of raising the bar on the standards that you're leading in the Hamilton Township Health Department. How's progress going toward that certification?
Thank you for asking that. So we are going down the road for accreditation, and when we had spoken last year, we were going, we thought the plan was to go towards, for lack of a better word, accreditation, like they call it the Pathways program, where you meet, half the measures, and then it's kind of a stepping stone to full accreditation. We submitted our documents to and filled out, a long questionnaire of multi-pages of, hundreds of different measures to the accreditation body, thinking that they would turn around and say, yes, you're good to go, part of this program, pathways, and start that process. But they did suggest to us that we move towards full accreditation and that we were ready to make that move. So that's something that we were pleasantly surprised with, and I think, is definitely a testament to the staff and, everything that's been done in the past number of years to get us to this point. So that is something over the next couple months that we will be actively preparing to make sure that we really do have all the documents squared away, needed to then submit for full accreditation. So we have from, I believe, a year to make that decision, and then once we make that decision, then it's another year for us to get all the documents in. But the goal would be, really, once we're ready to make that decision, we would want all of pretty much to have everything squared away at that point. So once we say, yes, we're going to do this, we're submitting all of our documents.
One of the things that's great about that, and I really do appreciate your efforts and the efforts of your staff toward meeting this higher standard, is that once you meet that standard and get that accreditation, there's no going back, because there's no future health officer who's going to want to lose that accreditation once you achieve it. So I appreciate your efforts to get us there. So thank you for that.
And it's something I know Kathy with the Senior Center accreditation, I think we're all, on board with making sure that, it's a good standard to hold us to, and it benchmarks us against, the best health departments in the nation, not just here in New Jersey.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Any other questions? No? At this time, I'll open it up to the public if they may have any questions for Director Fitzgerald or Health Officer Helwig. Yes.
Lisa Williams, Briner Lane. I guess I should put that.
I got it.
A little slow. So in the report, I see that we had 47 summonses issued. I'll go through my questions so I know my time's limited, and then just stop for answers. I'm curious what those summonses are for, how many are for unleashed or unlicensed dogs. I look at the number of dog licenses issued. 2022 is the lowest number out of 3 years, and that's even after, as a resident, being told I had to report the dogs myself. I reported 60 dogs last year on my dog walk. And then the way that happened, to bring council up to speed, from mid-March through Labor Day weekend, there were 6 dogs either at large at my fence or being walked on extended retractable The Marsh dog, I did not follow up at that time to see if it was licensed because of the backlog in dog licensing, and it was licensed the prior year, so I assumed it was. After the sixth dog, when I got that one and it was not licensed, I opened the entire database. There are 17 dogs living on my street. 2021, prior to me reporting that large dog, in November, only 4 were licensed. It got up to 5 after my follow-up. This year, there were only 4 licensed, 2 were new. So of the 5 that were licensed in 2021, all still existed, only 2 were licensed in 2022. I thought, at what point does it become a case where maybe I get bit by a dog who's not licensed and not vaccinated for rabies? And I'm told, well, you knew, you didn't report it, so I did. So those were 60, just from my dog walker, which is much smaller than it used to be because my dog's great. So my question then becomes, what is the process to follow up and ensure that dogs in our town are licensed? And licensing is to ensure they're vaccinated for rabies. And I'm sure you've all seen the issues of rabid animals in our town. What is the process, and this is also loss of township revenue, between the license fee and the late fee? Okay, I'm fine. Those are my questions.
Anybody want to answer that? Chris? Thank you.
Alright. So as far as the types of summonses issued, I will have to get back to council or to the board on the breakdown of summonses and what they were for. I don't have that on the top of my head. One thing I will say is that, with all summonses, they do take time. We can issue the summons, but that does not mean immediate compliance with the summons. And there is a process that they have to go through for even just with any process. And I'm not sure if our legal team can just, kind of talk about that a little bit more, but it does not mean immediate compliance. As far as, the dog licenses go, yes, I know it's something that has been brought to my attention by the resident numerous times, and we're trying to work with, and get more people licensed with their dogs as much as possible. It's something that we are trying to do this year. We have greatly, with our new implementation of Gov pilot system, doubled what we were, or even tripled what we were able to do in this time period last year. We've issued over 2,000 licenses just in this, first 2 months right now, where last year we were talking about hundreds. So we are trying to make the system easier for residents to comply with. So it's a process. We are also looking at ways to make sure that we can go back and audit who has not complied with our licensing, and go back, who might have skipped a year, taking those the complaints that do come in, and having an ACO go out and rectify. We also do send out letters and NOPs to those residents, but we do need to verify that there is a dog on property. We can't just send a summons based on a complaint. We do have to investigate it and make sure that it is verified. And I don't remember if there was a third question, but
Was there any problems though with like whether cross-referencing the rabies shot compared to when the license was expiring? Okay, so from what I understand, there was many people that were having problems, right? Their dog license expired, but cross-referencing, when they tried to make the application for the license, it came back that the dog was due for a rabies shot, when in fact it wasn't.
yeah,
Correct?
and that's something that.
Now, I asked him the question. You get it when you're done. Go ahead.
No, that was a Gov pilot specific glitch that
Right.
we are working towards. So if anybody does get complaints about that, just have them reach out to the shelter directly.
Right.
It's an easy fix on our end. It's just, for some reason, it's a glitch in the system that it prevents some people from renewing because it's throwing out their rabies.
Because that happened to a few people that I spoke to that were having problems, with getting their license back, because they sent their fees in to pick up the license and it was rejected because the crossover with the rabies shot.
Yeah, we're aware of it, and I believe, knock on wood, that it hopes that it's fixed, but with call, things go,
Okay.
many things pop up. But
Thank-
overall, the system has been working a lot better and made our lives a lot easier, but there is that one specific glitch that we've run into.
Thank you, please.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
Before you do, Chris, those summons, they require court appearance?
I believe so, yes.
No, not if they just plead guilty and pay the fine.
They can plead guilty and pay the fine. All right, we'll put a pin in that one.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I have a follow-up question on the issue you just raised, to make sure I understand what the issue is.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand, so go ahead.
Okay, so because you can't renew a license if the rabies expires before November 1st, and Gov Pilot should kick that out, is this a different issue? Because when I opened the database, there weren't many and I requested rabies expiration date, and there weren't many dates that were either blank or expiration dates that were prior to November 1st of 2022. I opened it in September of 2022, and again in October of 2022, and in November. And recently waiting for the follow-up again. So this is a different issue that's not expiration date.
Right.
Because we're still, while we're better in February of 2023 than we were in February of 2022, quite frankly, without getting them the payment, having everything was a disaster, we're still about 1,000 licenses less than we ended last year with, and all licenses were due, I'll get this right there, due January 31st, and we offer a 30-day grace period, giving you till February 28th to renew. So we should have, unless a dog has passed or someone has moved out of the town, at least the number of licenses we had last year as of February 28th. It's a lot of lost revenue, which could fund staff to have better ACO coverage, to go out on rabid animal calls, etc. I'll sit down. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the public? Janice?
Janice, President of India, Cornell High. Now, do I understand that people who can't afford to go to a doctor the kids can get all their shots through the health clinic? Oh, that's really nice. Okay. So anybody who's, not insured or something like that, they can go to them, and so they can get school. Oh, that's really good. I had no idea. And I did go to the senior citizen thing to get my 4th booster, and I never saw such efficiency. I mean, it was unbelievable. You had no question what you were doing, where you were going, and they even gave you a glass of water while you waited. It was outstanding.
Thank you, Janice. Any other questions from the public? Any closing remarks from the director? If not? Okay.
In closing, we would like to thank members of the Board of Health, Mayor Martin, and the administration for the opportunity to serve the residents of our town. With the expertise and professionalism displayed by our health department staff, we will continue to work diligently every day, ensuring and providing all required services to our residents. I would personally like to thank and commend every member of our health department for their dedication and commitment as public servants. Speaking with all the confidence in my team, we will continue to serve our residents of our town to the best of our abilities. We look forward to reporting at our next Board of Health meeting the continued progress and list of accomplishments made by our Department of Health. Thank you for sitting and staying up.
Thank you, Director Fitzgerald, and I'd personally like to thank Director Fitzgerald and Health Officer Helwig for attending tonight's meeting and give us an update on for the Board of Health. And I appreciate your efficiency and continue the fantastic work that you and everybody in your department is doing. With that, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the Board of Health meeting and reconvene the Township Council meeting as council.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk?
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
4-0. Next is our communication items 2-1. Receipt of documentation to update alcohol beverage control license on file 10331 058
the American Legion for 313, 560 Shore Avenue. This is just an update of the officers that are currently on file.
This the,
This is the Broad Street Park 313.
we've had some issues.
Yes.
We have put this off for several meetings. This is simply switching the commander and the vice commander's positions. This is, at the last meeting, I did reach out to the police department, and we had no updates of any further issues or problems.
All right, so we're not continuing to receive complaints at this time.
I have not, no, I have not.
Okay.
And we've had that discussion, and naturally, we're aware, and as they start operations again, we're going to be keeping a close eye on...
I think they've been operating,
Okay.
yeah.
We're going to, I know we're keeping a close eye on what's going on.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of concerns I just recently received, but yeah, this is just a switching of the officers for commander, so.
Okay.
I'll move communication C1.
I'll second that.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Next, we have a joint proclamation from the mayor and council for Michael McConboy as the Grand Marshal for the St. Patrick's Day Parade 2023.
I'll read that proclamation as a former Grand Marshal myself. So, whereas Michael McConboy is a proud Hamiltonian since his immigration, since immigrating from Longford County, Ireland in 1987. Whereas upon his immigration, Mick was employed by his uncle, Sean Dalton of Sean's Landscaping, before going in to purchase the company in 1990. Eventually, Mick sold the business in 2000 in order to establish Longford Landscaping and Excavation. As a hard-working and dedicated businessman, Mick has been recognized over the years for his excellence in business with numerous awards. And whereas Mick is strongly committed to our local community, donating to numerous charities and events each year. Recently, he and his team donated both their time and materials for use in our September 11th Memorial Grove located in Veterans Park. And whereas Mick is a devoted husband to his wife Sheila and his loving father to his 4 children, son Jack, daughters Jennifer, Grace, and Nora. And while Mick is a proud Hamiltonian having to choose to raise his family here, he is equally proud of his Irish roots. And now therefore be proclaimed that I, Jeffrey S. Martin, Mayor, and the Township and the Hamilton Township Council hereby extend congratulations to Michael McConboy, Grand Marshal of the original St. Patrick's Day Parade at Hamilton, and on this most prestigious designation for his dedication to not only our community, but also to his Irish heritage.
Council President, would you like to do items C2 through C5 in one
We'll do it all in
motion?
one, so we'll read them all and then...
Yes.
Go ahead.
C3 is a joint proclamation from the mayor and council for Eva Kelly as Miss St. Patrick at the St. Patrick's Day Parade 2023.
Okay, it's my pleasure to read this proclamation. Whereas Eva Kelly is a lifelong Hamilton Township resident, having attended Yardville Elementary School and Reynolds Middle School, Eva is currently a senior at Steinert High School. And whereas Eva is an honors class student who has made honor roll throughout all 4 years of her high school career. Furthermore, she is a member of both the National Honor Society and the Science National Honor Society. And whereas, along with her academic achievements, Eva's strong interest in animal science has led her to become a member of the Environmental Science Club at Steinert and to volunteer at local veterinary clinics, while her love of horses specifically has led her to volunteer at the Renaissance Horse Farm. And whereas Eva plans to further her studies as a major in animal sciences at either the University of Vermont or Delaware Valley College. And now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Jeffrey S. Martin, Mayor, and the Hamilton Township Council hereby extend sincere congratulations to Eva Kelly, 2023 Miss St. Patrick, as named by the original St. Patrick's Day Parade and Scholarship Committee at Hamilton on this most prestigious designation, as well as her dedication and commitment to her Irish heritage. Witness our hands on this 11th day of March, 2023.
Okay.
Excuse me, C4 is a joint proclamation from the mayor and council for Gil Lugosi receiving a special community award from the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee.
Councilman Ty?
Last but not least, whereas Gilbert Gil Lugosi, a well-known and honorable Hamiltonian who's known affectionately to many as Uncle Gil, and whereas Gil is a proud graduate of Hamilton High School West and Brown University, he was a devoted husband to the love of his life, his wife Lee, for 54 years, and always by each other's side prior to her passing. And whereas Gil has always been one to give back to his community, having served 2 terms on the Hamilton Township Board of Education, as well as 2 terms as a Mercer County freeholder, now known as commissioners. Gil also served as our Mercer County Sheriff for 15 years, during which time he also graduated from the FBI National Academy. Gil's career in government also included time spent as a member of the New Jersey State Parole Board, and whereas Gil is a life member of the Rustling Hose Fire Company, having previously served as a fire commissioner to Fire District 3, and whereas he is also a member of the Ancient Order of Hibernians Foundation, as well as the Hamilton Elks 2622, therefore, be it now proclaimed that Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and this Hamilton Township Council hereby congratulate Gilbert Gil W. Lugosi, recipient of the 2023 Hamilton Township St. Patrick's Day Parade and Scholarship Committee's Special Community Award for being a model citizen and always serving our community with great pride and dedication.
Thank you, Councilman.
Next, item C5 is a joint proclamation for mayor and council proclaiming March as Irish Heritage Month.
Resolution of Commendation, Irish Heritage Month. Whereas Hamilton Township has a rich tradition of cultural and ethnic diversity as evidenced by the background and heritage of its citizens. And whereas long before the great wave of Irish immigration in the 1840s, people of Irish ancestry were defined and defending our nation, as Irish-born Commodore John Barry and General Stephen Moylan fought for our country's independence. And whereas the story of the Irish in America and Hamilton Township is an important part of the history of our country, and this month in particular, on St. Patrick's Day, we pay tribute to Americans of Irish descent who have shaped our nation and influenced American life. And whereas Hamilton Township's Irish American community and citizens alike will celebrate the Irish heritage through St. Patrick's Day parades, a Gaelic Mass, Irish flag raisings, and cultural celebrations and events. And now therefore be it jointly resolved by the Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Council of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer and State of New Jersey that the industry, talent, and imagination of Irish Americans have enriched our commerce and our culture. Their strong record of public service has fortified our democracy. Their strong ties to family, faith, and community have strengthened Hamilton Township's character. The Irish are a significant reason why Americans will always be proud to call ourselves a nation of immigrants. And be it further resolved by Council that in recognition of the heritage and character of the Irish American citizens of Hamilton, and that in this time of celebration of their heritage, we do hereby proclaim March 2023 Irish Heritage Month in Hamilton Township. We call upon all Hamiltonians to observe this month by celebrating the contributions of Irish Americans to our nation.
Thank you, Councilman. This is C6, right? You want to do C6 and then we'll do all of them?
We can.
Yeah, do
it's your
C6,
pleasure.
yes.
C6 is a request for the Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey for permission for cookie sales at various approved locations and dates to be conducted March 11th through March 25th.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Guess a motion is in order for communication C1 through C6.
C2 through C6.
I'm sorry, C2 through C6.
It's my pleasure to move communications C2 through C6 in honor of this particularly distinguished group of honorees for St. Patrick's Day this year.
I will second that.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Next, Ms. Monzo has an addition to the agenda.
Council President and Council, if you would, like to ask if your permission to consider adding an item to the agenda for this evening. This is something we missed the deadline for. You should have a copy of the resolution in front of you. It's a resolution authorizing transfers for the calendar year 2022 municipal budget. Municipal budget law allows for the transfer of budget items in the first 3 months of the year subsequent to that last year's budget. So this is basically some utility bills that came in later that we weren't able to process before the end of the year. And we want to move some of the budget amounts from the landfill line item in order to cover what we need in the utilities line item. So if you wouldn't mind, it can go on your consent agenda. It would end up being resolution number 23-142 if you so choose.
Do you need a motion?
Any questions on that? Do we need a motion on that, or do we just move that motion with the consent agenda? Make motion to add it.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to add resolution 23-142.
I'll second the motion.
Madam Clerk?
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 to add resolution 23-142.
Gotta be quick.
Next is resolution 123-120. This is a resolution to cease and desist alcohol beverage license 110333 020-003 as of March 7th, 2023.
What's going on here? Cease and desist. Can you explain this for us?
Yes, this license previously belonged to Hamilton Lanes. The current Hamilton Lanes has purchased a different liquor license. This licensee, Mr. Eli, the license has ceased to be active since February of 2018. We have been unable to renew said license for several license terms for different reasons, non-payment, unable to get tax clearance. So the Division of ABC reached out and said that they would not consider at this point renewing because he's been non-compliant for so many years. So the state is actually going to take the license back.
Will it be resold at some point? We'll
No.
get back into search. So this will be one less liquor license in
Which we
Hamilton.
are above our
number
as it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on resolution 1?
Motion?
Okay.
Oh,
Public.
sorry.
Any comments from the public on resolution 123-120? Seeing none?
Council President, see no members of the public wishing to comment. I move that we close the public comment portion and move resolution 23-120.
I'll second that.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Resolution 223-121 is a resolution authorizing and directing the planning board of the Township of Hamilton to undertake a preliminary investigation to determine whether a certain area within the township qualifies as a condemnation area in need of redevelopment, specifically Block 1922, Lots 5 and 7.
This is over near what we
Yes,
talked about.
Council President.
Right, on the corner.
There's a house that's next to the lot on Faulkner, the back entrance to our future municipal building complex. This house is in terrible shape, a big hole. It's really sad, the pictures inside. It looks like just they died and the roof actually is going. So we are in negotiations with them to buy it, but in case that negotiation falls through, I've asked specifically for condemnation power, so that if we can't buy it, which we plan to do, we can still then expand and own the property and add it to the bigger property of our municipal complex.
Thank you.
How big is that additional lot?
Not that big.
It's less than an acre,
Yes,
right?
it's
Less than an acre?
I'm sorry, my mic wasn't on. I'm sorry if y'all didn't hear me.
No, I drove past, and it's overgrown, and the house is, dilapidated, but it would be a nice addition to that overall project.
At this time, I'll open up to the public on Resolution 223-121.
Would you just repeat, like, where it was?
Okay, so this is White Horse Avenue, Clockner Road, almost near the side entrance to get into where the ShopRite was, where the township purchased that property. There's a small parcel there with a house on it, okay, which is, obviously, it's fallen down.
We're declaring the whole area, our property plus the property we want to acquire.
Exactly.
An area in need of redevelopment. With this, assuming we pass this resolution.
Any other questions from the public? Seeing none?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, President, to pass on Resolution 223-121.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Next is consent agenda items for your consideration. CA1, with the addition of the CA 140, which will be CA 21.
Right.
Madam Clerk, I'm going to abstain from CA 16 due to my work with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority.
Okay. So, briefly, I'll just go through a few items and then I'll see if council has any questions. If you look at CA2, for instance, it's a grant with the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety for the month of April in the amount of $12,250. The township will be responsible for about $4,228, which could vary depending on the individual's overtime rate. That is, I think it's in CA2, I'm sorry. That is CA1, okay? And that is for driving, cracking down on driving, under the influence or texting. CA3 is, I get my numbers right, because I wrote some notes down here. CA3 is establishing a contract with Deltec Inc. for the historic Pearson House. It's a roof structure, stabilization, and chimneys for $205,400. The amount was made available through the capital account, which had for $78,869, along with $126,531 that were made available through a reimbursable grant. CA10 is established a contract to purchase 2 Kubota RTV utility vehicles for Department of Public Works. Cherry Valley tractor sales will be awarded if approved. The amount of $45,469.83. Funds are made available through the 2022 capital vehicles account. CA11 is approving the first one-year extension to a contract 20-583 with the COIO of Mercer County for operation, management, and administration of the Bromley Neighborhood Service Center in the amount of $126,000, which comes out of the trust account. CA13 is established a contract with Earl Asphalt Company for road improvements to Industrial Drive, Whitehead Road to the dead end, and the amount of $284,013.13 maximum. This amount is available through the capital account. The low bid on this project was approximately 52.1% lower than the engineer's estimate, so I think it was estimated over $500,000. The bids came in at $284,000. And does council have any comments on some of the other consent agenda items?
Just a quick question about the refund for it was a duplicate for the dog license, never mind, I just saw that.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if it was the wrong Hamilton Township or...
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any other questions.
I just had a few comments, not so much questions. CA2, I appreciate the CFO's thorough analysis of that overall 3-year contract for banking services. And that would generate a sizable increase in financial benefit based on those interest rates. So that was some good news. CA13, I also can appreciate that the lowest bid came in 52% lower than the engineer's estimate. That's also a positive. And then CA 16. Can I just get a little bit more? I had a question. This was a structure change. What exactly was that for the near power rubber factory site?
This is the cleanup that's going on there, and so, the engineer or this consultant will come in to be able to, construct a bid or to go out to have a contractor, a vendor come and, remove all the contamination that's there.
But the reason why it's on our agenda tonight was because
This is the next phase of that work.
Okay. Okay, I thought that it was just solely because of the
Merger.
I
the
don't
structural
believe so.
change.
So, no, that happened already.
Okay.
So, and that was done in a prior resolution, I think it was,
Okay.
talked about
All
it
right.
there because they wanted to give you the history of the
Okay.
resolutions
All right.
that you've
Yep.
approved prior to this. So that was done already, I think sometime last year, and this is really the next phase of this project. And this is also covered by, grant funds that we've received for it as well. So.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, I'd like to open it up to the public for comments on the consent agenda. Any questions? No? Motion's in order.
Council President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we move consent agenda, close the public comment portion and move consent agenda items CA1 through CA20, and I'll be abstaining on, excuse me, through CA1 through CA1 through CA21, and again, I'll be abstaining on CA16.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty, with the exception of CA 16?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 in CA 16 with 3-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we have ordinance 123-008, ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is to repeal the space established at 141 Herbert Avenue by ordinance number 03-046. This is second reading and public hearing.
Any comments from council?
No.
No? I'd like to open it up to the public. Any comments on ordinance number 20, second reading 23-008? Seeing none?
Seeing none, Council President, I'll make a motion to close the public comment portion and move on second reading ordinance number 23-008.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. Next, we have ordinance 123-009, ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 340, Parks and Playgrounds, Article 1, Rules and Regulations, Section 340-4, Permits for Group Use. This is first reading and introduction.
Motion's in order.
Council President, I move ordinance 23-009 on first reading.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 on first reading and introduction. Ordinance 223-010. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 215, Fees. First reading and introduction.
Council President, before I make this motion, I just want to point out that I've been asking at each council meeting about our transition as a municipality to renewable energy. And with this ordinance, we make tangible progress toward that goal. We've broken ground on our first municipal EV charging station. We've installed our first EV charging station, and with this, we'll be establishing for the use of that charging station. And with that, I'd like to move ordinance 23-010 on first reading.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ordinance 2 passes 4-0 on first reading and introduction. Ordinance 323-011. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19. This is repealing the handicap parking space established at 132 Overlook Avenue by ordinance 20-042. This is first reading and introduction.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on first reading 23-011.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 on first reading and introduction.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now open up the meeting to public comments. Oh, wait, we have any? Oh, then nobody gets to talk then. No. Even though nobody signed up, if there's anybody from the public that would like to speak, feel free to come on up and introduce yourself.
We'd like to hear from our Boy Scouts. Any of our Boy Scouts want to come up and say hello?
Guys,
Questions?
feel free, guys. I'd love to hear from you.
Any
But
questions?
if you don't, I understand.
That's okay.
On
If
the,
you're feeling shy.
On the process?
I'll just make a quick comment. I'd just like to thank the council for the recognition this evening and for us as scouts to have the opportunity to be part of tonight's meeting. As scouts, we pledge under our scout oath to have a duty to country, and that extends to a duty within our communities and our municipalities. Part of that is understanding the workings of our municipal government and also the opportunity to provide back to our communities through community service. We're proud to be a big part of Hamilton in that regard. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, I just didn't get your name.
My name is Gerard Appert, and I'm an Assistant Scoutmaster with Troop 91 Hamilton.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Janice?
Janice and I put your training on going to hike. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice to be
And
back.
Nice to have the Boy Scouts. And we got a second, I assume the calendars were the ones that with the post office that didn't go out that we got, because I got my second one, my girlfriend's one, I got a first one. They didn't reprint them, they just got rid of them, right? That was in the right. And the new recycle thing that came out from Mercer County was outstanding because the calendar is off.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, it was so nice and simple, but they don't do that every year.
That was from the township, wasn't it?
Was that from the
Was that from
township?
that postcard? Wasn't that from the township? It was,
I think it was a combination of both.
okay,
We did it off of what the county was putting out as well, so.
okay.
But it gave us an opportunity when we had to get the rest of the calendars out.
Right.
Gave us an opportunity to correct what had happened in the calendar for, that we sent out originally for the recycling.
Right, that was outstanding, but that's
Okay,
people
we'll make a note of
that
it.
calendar, that was good. I mean, it's so nice to, you can see right away where you're going. Okay, as for Candolium, who is responsible for picking up all the litter that's along the road? Is it them, or is it the township because it's next to the road and it's vacant lot, right, or if somebody still owns it and it's up for sale or whatever, nobody knows what's going on over there.
Who's littering?
I don't know.
A lot
but
of people.
Plastic bags and everything is
Yeah.
all along the road. Somebody had said, because Sweetbriar has a lot of litter. And Sloan.
You know, this is
Somebody
an,
had said that when garbage trucks go down, a lot of stuff flies out. Somebody had little condos are going to someplace behind Whiteheads or something.
they go down Second Avenue and cross into Lawrence Township over there to the waste management facility, and it's a chronic problem that we have with these garbage trucks, and you know, maybe that's something, Kathy, that we can look into contacting waste management about those garbage trucks shedding garbage as they pass through our township.
Because even going up the overpass,
Yeah.
the development there, that is all full of litter. I did call Mercer County. Mercer County did come out and clean it, but they had said to me, you know, we only do right along the road. They didn't do along the creek, though. That was, you know, they cleaned it up, so they did come out and do kind of, but now it's loaded again. But Candolium now has all find the big plastic bags and everything laying there, so I don't know who's responsible for picking that stuff
We'll,
up.
we'll definitely look into it,
Yeah.
Janice.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
Just,
contract purchaser and there's the owner. There's the contract purchaser, so there's the person, the organization, the company that's in contract to buy it, and there's the current owner. I don't know where the contract is, if it's gone through, because there were certain things that had to happen first before they bought it. So, I can reach out to their lawyers too.
Because there was supposed to be that trucking company, supposed to be built in there, I think with 70, 80 trucks, tractor trailers, and so whether they were on Sloan, so whether it's them or not, I don't know, but it'd just be nice if it was, it's from the light at the train
Sure.
station to the 295 entrance.
And I'm sure just like everybody, we all drive through the township, and not only there, you notice it in other areas. So, winter's hopefully over soon, right? And spring cleanup, and we'll have vehicles out and through the neighborhoods and taking care of business in areas that need to be cleaned up, and we'll definitely address it.
I just don't understand how people just can't take the garbage home and get rid of it instead of tossing it out. Or any shopping center you go to, they have tons of garbage cans, drop it there.
There's no rhyme or reason why people act the way they do. You just can't.
You got that right.
We all see it, people throw
Yeah.
it right out there as they're driving.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Anybody else from the public like to speak? Lisa, come on back up.
Lisa Williams, Griner Lane. I know soon we will all see the budget and we'll go through it, but there's not usually much time for the public to make recommendations. So as you're looking at the shelter budget and the health office budget, I would just ask you to consider hiring some part-time animal control officers. And I know we always look at funding, but here's my thought. Prior to this administration, we had 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year animal control coverage, and the weekends and the holidays were covered by part-time ACOs. So right now with our contracts, we have issues with full-time ACOs. I see that based on this Councilman time we did. Two of them are now full-time, and you can ask them their schedule. But what used to happen, say a holiday fell on a Tuesday where full-time ACOs are off, the Tuesday night part-time person covered Tuesday day. So we at least have one shift. Then my second part of if you hire part-time ACOs, to send them out to canvas. What I learned because I just had to respond to what was happening on my property and the life that I live with trying to take care of a rescue dog, is that most dogs aren't licensed. I mean, it's 23.5% on my street, so if that's across the town, and I'm not going to get into all the numbers. It's not that hard. I've taught you guys how to calculate it and how I find this. Really not that hard. Have them walk. Take a shelter dog for a walk. That money, had we actually started this back in 2020, the money would start to be coming out of the dog fund, and you could use it for whatever you wanted, staff, any other general fund expense. I calculated the shortfall last year or the year before for you guys based on number of dog licenses. I calculated a projection of it again this year based on September. It's $121,000. That's just license fees, not late fees. There's a way to create a revenue pool to hire more ACOs. And my recommendation is that they be part-time so that you have flexibility in scheduling. And then if someone retires, moves, and decides to not work in Hamilton, to work wherever they are, you have someone who knows the process that you can recommend a promotion to full-time and then hire another part-time person. We're a large town with a lot of people, and honestly, 4 ACOs just isn't enough for the coverage. Some of those rabid raccoon reports were on a holiday, and I know one was at night, so this may not have addressed that, but we at 92,000 residents shouldn't be without ACO coverage after 3 o'clock on a Saturday or holidays, or not have someone that we can call and make them come in. Put somebody on, a part-time person who's on call, to come out for these loose dogs, potentially rabid, whatever. Our residents deserve better coverage and safe communities. That's my goal. Thank you.
And we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'll open it up to comments from council.
Looks like everyone's looking to me.
Ladies first.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to the Boy Scouts for coming out and joining us tonight, and all Scouts. I know, Karina, it's great to see you here, and I know you guys have come quite a few times, and it's always great to see you. Hope you guys at least enjoyed the process a little bit, and next time, if you have some questions, we'd love to hear from you. I'm happy to be back in my seat and joining with my colleagues. It's very nice, feeling better. And I just want to say I'm very excited for Saturday's St. Patrick's Day Parade. So I hope to see you all out there down Nottingham Avenue at, remind me, Chetty?
12:30 is the ceremony at the
12:30.
firehouse.
Okay. Otherwise, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Here we go. Welcome back, Nancy. So on tonight's agenda, we saw a part of the ongoing effort in our township to improve services to our residents, to give attention to long neglected property, to redevelop properties that are in need of redevelopment, and to bring jobs to the township through those efforts. And so I'm proud of the ongoing work that we continue to do, including the big milestone tonight for renewable energy, for electric vehicles. So glad to have the Boy Scouts with us. Welcome. Hope to see you again soon. Reach out anytime if you have questions, boys. And with that, I'll conclude my remarks. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to share your number with them when we're done, but go ahead.
I also want to recognize the Boy Scouts for their attendance here this evening. Thank you for being here. Councilman Ty is usually a little bit more lively than this, so he underperformed tonight, but no, it's nice having you here. Just so you get this idea of just the flow of our government and how it works. It took me a few years to figure that out, the process as a council person sitting up here, so, and I get made fun of for that, but it's because of you that we're able to do the things that we're able to do here, and just like Lisa's comment in the back regarding the budget, adding that to our budget review and just taking a look at it and figuring out if it's possible. But it's from your suggestions that we're able to do that. So I appreciate the contribution. And just wanted to wish everyone happy St. Patty's Day, and looking forward to the parade. Hopefully, no rain. So.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. As always, I appreciate everybody coming out, and to our scouts and their scout leaders for bringing us here tonight to fulfill one of your, I guess it's your goals, as far as getting, is this a merit badge or their Eagle Scout? Any of you?
We're working on one of the requirements for communication merit badge, but they also will get credit for citizenship in the community as well.
Fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You got something out of it. And like Councilman Ty said, feel free to come again. If you ever have any questions, I'll give you his number later on outside. Other than that, St. Patrick's Day Parade is Saturday. It kicks off at 12:30 at Nottingham Firehouse on Mercer Street. I've been tasked with, I've been asked by the powers that be that I guarantee that it's a sunny day. So if it's not, I'll blame it on somebody else. But I'm hoping for good weather, where our community could come out and hopefully enjoy a beautiful day, where everybody gets together to celebrate, whether you're Irish or not, but, the heritage of our Irish community, which it is a proud community, not only of many different ethnic backgrounds, but that take pride in it, but many people come out, from all different ethnic origins and celebrate St. Patrick's Day, which is nice to see everybody come together. And again, I look forward to it. If it doesn't happen, the rain date is the following Saturday. We're talking about the budget. The budget's going to be introduced to council on April 4th, and we'll move through the budget hearings, sequential after that, and hopefully by sometime in May, we'll be able to introduce the budget to the public and have it adopted. And with that, I'd like to call the meeting, closure of the meeting. Thank you again. Be safe going home.